yang D. Generally trapped.
Yes, that's correct. So here we have carnivorous plants generally trap insects to obtain nitrogen. Well, as we can see here, we have some similar options for B and D. Well, here we have a difference in word order, trapped generally or generally trapped. For this context, then the correct one is D. Yes, generally trapped, because it modifies the verb trapped. And then the position precedes the verb. Well, for A, here we have are generally trapped. Well, this one is incorrect because it is in a passive form. What we need is an active one. So that's why the correct one is D. Then let's see number 3. What about Ari Sukma?
Yeah, Miss. Bentar. Number 3. Miss.
A.
Yeah.
So let's see. A federal type of government results in. The subject is a federal type of government, and here we have the verb results in. Well, it is a preposition. Then it can be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. Well, if we have a noun phrase, that means that the main word in that phrase is a noun. Here we have a vertical distribution of power. Yes, that's correct. Here we have distribution of power as a noun phrase. And here we have the adjective vertical. Okay, so that was number 3. Now let's see number 4. Well, what about Berliana?
Number 4, D, ma'am.
February normally has 28 days, but every 4th year, a leap year, it has 29. Yes, that's correct. So somehow then for number 4, here we can see then it's very important for us to use the punctuations to help us understand the sentence. Here we have some commas. February normally has 28 days, comma, because here what we have is a compound sentence and the connector is but. But every 4th year, and here we have a leap year, has 29. Yes. So here we have D. Jadi yang kita lihat tadi adalah a leap year. But every 4 year, yang disebut sebagai a leap year, tahun kabisat, it has 29. So basically then the function of a leap year is additional information. It's a noun phrase which functions as an additional information. Here we have 2 commas, a leap year, before and after. Number 4 we have D. Yes. And then let's see number 5. Number 5, what about Dafa Ausaf?
Yes, ma'am.
B. Evidence suggests that 1/4 of operations involving bypass surgery may be unnecessary. The correct answer is C. Why C? Actually, the full clause is evidence suggests that 1/4 of operations which involve bypass surgery may be unnecessary. So awalnya dari which involved. Here we have which involved, but then which involved. But then for this, what happened next was that the word which was omitted and then involved becomes involving. Okay. So the correct one is C. Well, somehow then D is a good distractor. Here we have which day involved. We may think that this one is the correct one, but then this one is incorrect because here we have double subjects. Here we have which. This which refers to operations. And then we have they. This they also refers to operations. So that means we have double subject. What we need is which involved. Tapi itu tadi, which involved, kok tidak ada bentuknya yang which involved? Well, the clause now becomes a phrase. So what we have here, involving bypass surgery. Now let's see number 6. What about Arista? Arista Disti.
Number 6. C, ma'am.
C. Although a tornado spins in the counterclockwise direction it spins, yes, that's correct. So actually that although is a connector that shows contrast. So here we have contrasting information. However, it's incorrect because it is a connector, but then it cannot be used in this position. I mean, if, however, is put at the beginning of a sentence, then we must have another sentence before a previous one. Because basically the function of however is that it connects two clauses. Well, B, because of this one is incorrect because it's a preposition. And then what we need here is a connector, not a preposition, because we have two clauses. And then for D, well, it is not the right connector for this context. Okay. And now let's see 7 to 9. 7 to 9. For number 7, what about Venetia? C. The Caldecott Medal, which is a prize for the best children's book, is awarded each January. Yes, that's correct. Which is a prize. So then for number 7, we have C. Well, here we have the adjective clause, which is a prize for the best children's picture book. Well, the main subject is the Caldecott Medal, and the verb is a passive one, is awarded each January. And now let's see number 8. Number 8, we have Ferdi Ananta.
Delapan kan, men?
Yes.
A, men.
A. Okay. So sports medicine is a medical specialty that deals with the identification and treatment of injuries to person. Well, if we have A, that means we have two verbs. Actually, then in the sentence, we already have the verb. We have is. And then here we also have deals with. So the correct one for number 8 is not A, but, well, what do you think? The correct one is B, involved in sports. So here we have treatment of injuries to persons. Awalnya adalah two persons who are involved in sports. Who are involved. Punya dicoret, are-nya dicoret. So then here what we have left is involved in sports. Now let's see number 9. Number 9 we have Galuh Pamungkas. Yes, that's correct. So that is one of the most productive oil fields. Okay, is one of the most productive. So here we have a superlative comparison. One of, well, one of is followed by a plural one. And here we have this plural form, oil fields. The fields is in a plural form. Then 10 and 11. For number 10, we have Gilang Bakas.
Number 10. Okay. My answer is D, ma'am.
D. Thunder occurs as an electrical charge passes through air. Yes, that's correct. So thunder occurs as an electrical charge passes through air, causing the heated air. Okay, so then for number 10, we have the D. Yes. So here we have the first clause, that is the first sentence, thunder occurs. Kapan terjadinya? Here we have the connector as what? As an electrical charge passes. So here we have another verb. Okay. And then for number 11, we have Melvin Marley.
My answer is A.
A. The population of Houston was ravaged by yellow fever in 1839. Well, if you have A, it looks correct, but then there is no connector. Was ravaged by yellow fever in 1839 and again in 1867. So the correct one is B, because here what we need is a connector and. Well, what is wrong with your answer is that there is no connector. Now let's see 12 to 15. For number 12, we have Sahran Sahizidan.
Yes, Miss. 12 D, Miss.
D. Researchers have long debated whether certain moon titans contains hydrocarbon, oceans, and lakes. Okay, we have D, yes. And then number 13 we have Muhammad Ardiansyah.
Yes, ma'am. Nomor 13 is C.
C, yes. Here we have a comparison. The higher, well, the speed of a fluid gas, the lower the pressure. Then number 14. Number 14, we have Muhammad Mario.
Suara saya, Ma'am.
Yes.
Um, 14 B, ma'am.
B. Okay, so the flight instructor, when he interviewed at the air base, said that orders not to fight had been issued. Well, as we can see here, what we need is a passive form. The flight instructor, when, well, basically, or originally we had when he was interviewed. But then we can omit the subject and the to be. So the correct one is A. Jadi awalnya adalah the flight instructor when he was interviewed at the air base said that orders blah blah blah. When he was interviewed, passive yang kita perlukan. And then finally for number 15 we have Nikadek.
Yes, ma'am. Number 15 is C.
C.
Yes.
In the northern and central parts of the state of Idaho, okay. Here we are found majestic mountains and churning rivers. Yes, that's correct. So here we have, well, the location first in the northern and central parts of the state of Idaho. And what comes next is the verb. Jadi yang kita punya di sini adalah susun balik or inversion. So then the verb comes before the subject. The verb is are, and then here we have, the verb is are found, and then here we have two subjects, majestic mountains and churning rivers. Okay. All right, so those are the first part of the structure. Now let's go to the second part. Here we have number 16. Well, what about Nikadek?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 16.
Number 16 is B.
B, yes. Light can travel. Light can travel. Well, here we have to omit the S. And then 17. 17 we have Nur Hakim.
Number 17 is Hayes. B.
Every human typically have 23 pairs of chromosomes. It's B. Yes, because here we have every. Well, whenever we have every, then it is followed by a singular form. So here we can say every human typically has 23 pairs of chromosomes. Yes, that's correct. Then we have Rafael Febrian.
Yes, ma'am. C.
18 we have C. In the sports of fencing, 3 types of sports are used. C. Yes, it should be in sports of fencing, 3 types of sports. So here we have types. 19. 19 we have Rakadimas.
Yes, ma'am. 19 C, ma'am.
C. The Internal Revenue Service uses computers to check tax returns computation to determine the reasonableness of deductions. And yes, because here we have parallel forms, we have to check and then we have to determine. Well, for another one, it should be to revolved, not verifying. Yes, that is C. Then number 20, Rana Jingga.
Yes, ma'am. My answer is A.
There was 4 groups of 20 rats, each involved in the test. Yes. So it should be there were plural because here we have 4 groups. Then we have, well, 21 to 25. 21, what about Randi Zenas?
Okay, number 21 is D. Record, ma'am.
Oke, kita lihat di sini the type of jest known as swing was introduced by Duke Ellington when he wrote and records. Yes, it's D because here we have when he wrote. So the keyword here is wrote. Wrote, as we can see, it is in simple past tense, so that it should be and recorded. Yes. Okay. Then let's see number 22. Reinhard Immanuel.
Yes, ma'am. Number 22. Number 22. The bones of mammals, not like those of others vertebrates, shows a high degree of thinner.
Okay, the bones of mammals yang not unlike those of other vertebrates show a high degree of differentiation. Well, the incorrect one is A, yeah?
Ma'am.
It should be unlike, yes. So we don't have not unlike, but that instead what we have is unlike those of other vertebrates. And then number 23, Salman Al-Farisi.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the answer?
A, ma'am.
A. The United States receives a large amount of revenue from taxation of tobacco products. The incorrect one is D. Why D? Because here we have a tobacco product, ada E-nya, but then here we have products, plural. So which one is the correct one? Singular or plural? Well, products is not underlined, which means that it is the right word. So what we have to omit is E-nya. So taxation of tobacco products. Now let's see 24. 24 we have Septi Mutiara. A. Much fats are composed. One molecule of glycerin combined with 3 molecules of fatty acids. Okay, the incorrect one is A. Well, here we have much. Much is commonly followed by an uncountable noun. Or it can be followed by, bisa countable nggak ya? Enggak ya, tetapi here it is, it can be followed by a plural one. Here we have fats. Okay, tetapi fats kalau pakai S berarti dia kita anggap sebagai plural, bisa dihitung ya. So this one is not much but many. Many fats are composed of one molecule. So number 24 it is A. Then 25 we have Wibi Surya. Wibi Surya? Oke, tidak ada. What about Tiara Kalbita? Kalbia?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 25. ABCD?
C.
Okay, the capital of Confederacy was originally in Mobile, but they were moved to Richmond. So here we have, yes, C is incorrect because here we have they were moved. This they refers to what? The capital? No, it is singular. And then we have Confederacy? No, because this one is uncountable. So here we have, but they was moved to Richmond. Okay. So for number 26, we have, sorry, number 25, we have C. Then let's see number 26. What about Sapti Mutiara? (26) Sapti? Adakah Sapti? Tidak ada. So 26 kalau begitu kita coba Rian Oldino.
Yeah, ma'am. My answer is B.
B.
Yeah.
Pearl develops when a tiny grain of sand or some another irritant accidentally enters into the shell of a pearl oyster. Let's see. Some another irritant. Kita lihat, a pearl develops when a tiny grain of sand or some other harusnya ya, yang B, some other irritant accidentally enters. Okay. Then let's see 27 to 30. 27, then we have Rafal Fahriza.
Yes, ma'am. (27) D, ma'am.
D. The English horn is an alto oboe with a pitch 1/5 lower than that yang C. Yes, lower than that of the soprano oboe. So here we have that. I believe that we already discussed this. So this that actually refers to the pitch. So here we have with lower pitch that of the soprano oboe. Yang benar adalah yang C. Yes. And then 28. Rusmandi.
Ya, Miss. Nomor berapa, Miss?
28.
20. Yang B, Miss.
B. In the Milky Way galaxy, the most recent observed supernova appeared in 1604. The mostly recent observed supernova. The most recent observed supernova appeared in 1604. Yang B yang salah di mana ya? The most recently observed, yes. Sorry, for number 28, yes, it's B, because it should be recently observed. And then 29, we have Romi Putra.
Yes, Miss. Yang D, Miss.
Although the name suggests otherwise, the ship known as an old Ironsides was built on oak and cedar rather than was built of iron. The incorrect one is bukan yang C tetapi yang D. Why D? Here we have was built of oak and cedar rather than was built of iron. So here we thought it. And then 30 we have number 30. What about Prasetyo?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 30.
I think B, ma'am.
D. Never in the history of humanity there have been more people living on this relatively small planet. Never in the history of humanity there have been more people. Well, here we have yang B. Never in the history of humanity have there been. Harus kita balik posisi antara there dengan have-nya. There have been. Sorry, ini sudah benar ya. Never in the history of humanity there have there been. Harusnya dibalik because here we have never. So here we have susun balik. Tinggal kita tukar saja posisinya. And then number 31. Number 31 we have Naufal.
D, Miss.
31. Because of the mobile of Americans today, it is difficult for them to put down real roots. Because of the mobile of Americans today, it's difficult for them to put down real roots. Well, bukan yang C. Yang C ini them-nya refers to what? It refers to the Americans. But the incorrect one is A because what we need is a noun because of the mobility of Americans today. What we need is a noun, mobility. And then number 31. Number 31 we have Muhammad Fabian.
Number 31 is
32. Sorry, 32.
32 is B.
B. 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years after the Civil War, Robert E. Lee served to President of Washington College, which later was called Washington and Lee. Served as. The incorrect one is B. It should be served as. Served as President of Washington College. And then we have (32) tadi sudah, yes, 33 to 37. Here we have 33, Melvin Marley.
30. Berarti?
33.
My answer is C.
Well, the incorrect one is actually D. What is wrong with D? Susunan katanya, battle fatigue. So here we have doctors successfully use hypnosis during World War II to treat battle fatigue. Jadi kelelahan yang disebabkan oleh pertarungan, ya kira-kira di perang ya. So here we have battle fatigue. Okay. Then number 34 we have Laude.
Yes, Miss. The answer is C, Miss.
C. The lobsters, like many crustaceans, can cast off a damaging appendage and regenerate a new appendage to nearly normal sized. like many crustaceans, can cause of a damaging appendix. The incorrect one bukan yang C. Coba sebentar kita lihat. Can cause of a damaging appendage, regenerate an appendage to nearly. Oh, it should be with to nearly a normal sized. Jadi perlu kita tambahkan dengan E. Then 35 we have.
Itu bukannya yang C ya, kan jadi damage yang pakai.
Can cause of a damage appendage. Oh yes, okay. Thank you. Yes, damage appendage berarti yang rusak ya, bukan yang merusak. Okay, yes. Thank you. So here we have damage appendage. And then number 35 we have Dwiki Hidayatullah.
C-meme.
See, yes, it should be is the gravitational pull of the moon. That's correct. And then number 36 we have Bimo Sandi.
Yes, ma'am. 36 ya, ma'am?
Yes.
Yang B bukan?
D, yes. Well, what we need here is a passive form. So we can say they are not determined by the federal government. They are not. And then number 37. Number 37, we have Adam Albak.
Yes, ma'am.
37.
B, ma'am.
B, the fact that the sophisticated technology has become part of revolution in travel delivery system has not made travel schedule less hectic. Kita lihat. Yang benar bentuknya apa? Oke, yang lain mungkin ada yang punya ide lain?
Revolution ya.
Revolution.
Yes.
What is the difference? It is without an S. The fact that the sophisticated technology has become part of a revolution, part of a revolution in travel delivery systems has not made. So it should be with an article, a revolution. And then the last three items. Here we have, well, what about Fazrah Rahmawati?
Nomor berapa, Ma'am?
38.
Oh, 38 B.
Balanchines, bloodless ballet, such jewels and the four temperaments present dance. Yang B ya, karena tadi saya sudah salah baca, harusnya ya, such as. So then for number 39 we have Firman Panggala. Firman Panggala ada?
Ya, ma'am, sorry.
Okay.
Sinyalnya.
For number 39.
Miss.
Kita lihat in a solar battery, a photosensitive semiconducting substance such as silicon crystal is the source of electrician. Well, the incorrect one is actually D. D is K. Well, here we have to be careful in analyzing the sentence. Well, of is followed by a noun. Well, here we have electrician. Grammatically, it is correct that this of is followed by a noun. But then if we see the meaning, electrician is the person. Well, here what we have is not the person, but then it's the thing. So here we can say it's the source of electricity. And then finally for number 40, we have Gialgazi.
Ya, ma'am.
Number 40.
Number 40 itu B, ma'am. Was made harusnya, ma'am.
In here we have heating a mixture. In early days, hydrochloric acid was made by heating. Yes, that's correct. Here we have a passive one. Was made. Jadi yang ditukar-tukar pakai untuk pertanyaannya adalah make dan do. We say do research. We say make mistakes. So then here we have a kind of collocation. And then here we have was made by heating. Mengacu ke mana? Hydrochloric acid. Okay. All right. So it seems that most of you were able to do this activity very well. And then you had no difficulties. Well, let's see now another activity that we can do. Kita lihat yang sebentar. Writing, sorry, no. Post-test, pretest. Where is the post-test for reading? Well, we don't have it. Sebentar ya, kita lihat dulu. Oke, pretest structure. Coba kita lihat. Oh, it seems that I don't have. I want to do some listening activity, but it seems that the audio is not available. Let's see. Retest. Oke, kita lihat sekarang tetap structure. So here we have 10 items. Tolong kalian kerjakan dulu selama 10 menit, 1 sampai 10. Okay, well, I guess now we can check the answers. Kita lihat sekarang for number 1. What about Ferdi? Ferdi saja, bukan Ferdi Ananta.
Yang C, ma'am.
Number C. Here we have Indiana's Lost River to travel underground for a distance of 22 miles. If we have C, that means we don't have the main verb. The correct answer is A, travels underground for a distance of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so number 1, it's A. And then let's see number 2. Number 2, we have Haikal Setiawan. Is Haikal
Yes,
Setiawan?
ma'am.
Yes, okay. Number 2, what is the answer?
Number 2, yes, explosion. D, ma'am. D.
D. Okay, so the 1980 explosion of Mount St. Helens was the first volcanic eruption in the continental US. Yes, okay, so it's D. Okay, so here we have D. And then for number 3, we have Ifato Jana.
C, Miss.
Static electricity flowing from one cloud to another one or between clouds and the ground creates lightning. Here we have static electricity flowing from one cloud to another or between clouds and the ground creates. Yes, so here we have creates as the main verb and then the subject is static electricity. Intinya sih itu saja ya. Intinya adalah static electricity creates lightning. But then, which one? Here we have static electricity flowing from one cloud to another or between clouds. That is C. And then number 4 we have Muhammad Suryadiharja.
Yang B, ma'am.
The Model T car introduced in 1908, yang D was priced at 850. Yes. So here we have the subject, the Model T car, and then here we have the main verb was priced at. Introduced in, this one, it is an adjective phrase. Okay. And then for number 5, we have Muhammad Ardiansyah.
Yes, ma'am. Nomor berapa?
5.
C, ma'am.
C, for a sodium atom reacts with a chlorine atom. An electron is transferred. Not C, but then the correct one is, what do you think, the others?
B.
B. Yes, when a sodium atom reacts with a chlorine atom, an electron is transferred. So here we have a closed and the connector is when. When a sodium atom reacts, blah, 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 an electron is transferred. Okay. And then for number 6, what about Muhammad Haikal Faribi?
A, ma'am.
A. Let's see A. In 1858, the site it was to become the city of Denver was settled. Bukan yang A. Mau coba lagi? The correct one is yang D ya. In 1858, the site of what was to become the city of Denver was settled as. The correct one is D. Of what? Jadi yang akan menjadi Denver, something like that. Then number 7 we have Muhammad Haikal Raihansyah.
Okay, ma'am. My answer is while all the energy. C.
C. The light from an electrical lamp includes many different wavelengths, while all the energy in a laser is concentrated. Yes, that's correct. So here we have two clauses and the connector is while. Now let's see Muhammad Mario. Muhammad Mario ada? Muhammad Randi Dava.
Yes, ma'am. Nomor berapa, ma'am?
Number 8.
8. C, ma'am.
C. In the Antarctic Ocean, it is abundant plankton and crustacean forms of life. Well, kita lihat in the Atlantic Ocean, it is abundant plankton and crustacean forms of life. Harusnya sih there is ya abundant, tapi sebentar. An abundance of. Oh, yang benar jawabannya bukan yang C, tetapi yang A. Here we have in the Atlantic Ocean an abundance of plankton and crustacean forms. Oh, sorry, sebentar. Belum ada verbnya ya. Oh, ini susun balik. In the Atlantic Ocean is an abundance of plankton and crustacean forms of life. Yang benar adalah yang B. Inversion, susun balik. Jadi kalau tidak dibalik bagaimana? An abundance of plankton and crustacean forms of life is in the Atlantic Ocean. Oke, jadi yang benar adalah yang B. Perlu hati-hati sedikit. And then for number 9 we have Muhammad Randi Dava. Nicholas Fernando.
Yes, Miss. Number 9 ya, Miss. Apa
Yes, number 9.
C, Miss.
C. Flintlock muskets. The tips of sharp bayonets were standard weapons. Well, here we have flintlock muskets as the subject, and verbnya adalah were. So this muskets is modified by adjective phrase. Here we have flintlock muskets tipped with sharp bayonets were standard weapons. The correct one is B. Awalnya dari flintlock muskets which were tipped with sharp bayonets. So then which word-nya dibuang, and then here what we have left is tipped with. Then number 10, what about Prasetyo Kamaruzaman? Prasetyo? Raka Dimas?
Yes, ma'am. Number 10.
Yes.
Number 10 is A, ma'am.
Number 10 is A. Benjamin Franklin believed that the turkey rather than the eagle should become the symbol of the United States. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So here we have questions 1 to 10. And then here we have 5 more questions in 5 minutes. Okay, I believe that you are done. So now let's see for number 11. Number 11, we have Salman Al-Farisi.
Yes, ma'am. I think the answer is B.
B, if a break to occur in the Earth's crust. If a break to occur, well, if we have B, the problem is that we don't have the main verb. Jadi ini memang it's a bit tricky because the if is removed. So the correct one is A. Awalnya dari apa? Awalnya if a break were to occur. So that if a break were to occur in the Earth's crust, but then if-nya is omitted, and then we have inversion. Susun balik. The verb comes before the subject. Now let's see number 12. Number 12 we have, well, what about Prasetyo?
Yes, ma'am. Number 12, I think is C, ma'am.
C.
Yes.